morning. I'm getting ready to jump on the road to get to LA to take my last final for my master's program. Not ever, but for this week. And I was looking at the poll results from yesterday when I asked you guys what's the hardest part about creating content for your business. And there were three things, right? You don't know how to make money from it, keeping up with consistency, and not having the confidence. And those last two things are really feeding that first thing. All right. So, not having confidence, that's the biggest issue I work on with my clients who are just starting their business. It's not so much that I give them permission to do what they already know they want to do. It's more like I tell them not only do you get to do this, but it's so important because people need your help. The other side of that is people won't take your advice unless they're paying you for it. And that was one of the most frustrating things for me to learn as I was growing up. And I have one of those personality types where people just tell me all their problems, for waiting in line at the bank. All of a sudden, I'm getting someone's life story. But whenever I would communicate, like, oh, well, why don't you try it this way? They'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. And then nothing would change because they didn't value my advice. And the way we express value in a capitalistic world is we pay for it with money. So, the reason that you don't know how to make money from your content most likely has to do with the fact that you don't think you deserve to make money from your content. And I don't want to say this in terms of this is something you should blame yourself for because you're not doing anything wrong. You're just starting from a place of lack and constriction instead of starting from a place of abundance and prosperity. So the trick is just from like a marketing 101, identify the problem, say why you're qualified to solve the problem, and then say why now is the time they need to solve this problem. And there are a few different ways that you can do this in terms of how you communicate to your audience. I like to start from a place of vulnerability where I identify, hi, Amy. Oh, yeah, how timely. Yeah, tell us some of your story in the comments. I'll circle back around to you. So, where was I talking about content and confidence and making money? Oh, so starting from a place of vulnerability so that you're sharing, hi, Kalia, a problem that you have solved in your life, right? Not a problem that you're currently having, but a problem that you've had that you've solved. And you explain why the problem was such a big deal, what you had to do to solve it, and why you're now qualified to tell other people how to solve whatever that problem is. Okay. So for me, for the purposes of this group, the problem that you guys have is that you don't have enough money to not worry about money, right? And there's no such thing as like you're going to hit that perfect dollar amount and suddenly you're not going to worry about money, right? Even if you hit that $2 or $3 million that we all did with the Money Manifestation Accelerator. Hi, Amanda. Challenge, which we're going to be starting up again, I think in November, maybe a little bit later. I'll have to look at my content calendar. But even if you have that number of like, okay, if I have this much money in the bank, then I can spend any amount of money throughout my day and never have to say no to myself. Even that's not going to give you the feeling of like, I have enough money, right? Because the concept of having enough in our brains evolutionarily isn't part of our programming. It's something you have to teach yourself that enough is enough, right? Because, I mean, from an evolutionary standpoint, the way the brain works is there's going to come a point in your life when you're going to run out, right? You're going to run out of food, right? If the squirrel doesn't collect enough nuts and hide them all over the place for the winter, he's going to perish. And that's the same mindset that we have with like everything, not just food, right? But with love, with money, with friends, with nature, with time. There's never enough. And so you have to teach yourself, what does enough feel like? Now, that's not to say that you don't get to like bring in more and more and more and more, but if you start from that place of like, right now I have enough and I'm going to bring in more, that creates that energy of abundance and expansion that allows people to energetically want to contribute to your enough. So, in terms of just the general formula for creating content so that people are inspired to give you money, tell them what problem they have, which you know because you've had that problem. Tell them your story from an editing perspective, one sentence, then a paragraph. Spike, who you barking at? Everyone's leaving for work. One sentence, then a paragraph, one sentence, then a paragraph, right? Don't do these big, huge paragraphs when you're posting on social media. It's just too hard to read. People won't actually end up taking in any of the information. And then you end it with a call to action. So this is where you're not just going to be like, okay, there's my story. Hope you guys enjoyed it. But it's going to be, here's the next step that you can do to solve this problem. Whether that's sign up for my email list and then you'll get a freebie that'll help you solve this problem, or sign up for my course, or schedule a call with me and you can tell me the specifics of your issue, or leave a comment and tell me if this has ever been an issue for you. So give them an excuse to then do some sort of action for them to acknowledge this is my problem too, and I want to do something about it, and I want the algorithm to know, I want you to know that I think you can help me with this. Okay. I'm going to be talking about this all during the next week in preparation for my workshop I have coming up next weekend, which is the Mindful Content Creation Workshop. It's going to be 3 hours. You can join us live or you can watch the recording and circle back around to me with questions. But we're going to go through the method that I've spent literally the last 20 years developing. This is how I got through my English degree, working 4 jobs while taking a full course load when I was in my early 20s and churning out, 10-page papers every week. So you have to start from a place of joy. You have to find the time to create your content when you're actually going to enjoy it. You have to create the habit of it so that it's a non negotiable. This is just what happens. And you have to write well. And that's going to be the bulk of the program, is how to write well, not in terms of like, here's your next, a great American novel, but in terms of like, my message is very clear and the person reading this knows exactly what to do with this information. So, if this is something that would be useful for you, the course is going to be one of my lower priced offerings. It's $216. And if that's too much for you, if you're like, Morgan, I'm not even reading this on an iPhone, I'm looking over someone's shoulder and reading it off their phone, I don't have any money. I want you to DM me and I want to help you with that. But if you do think that this is something that could help you, and I can guarantee you everyone who takes this course is going to make their money back like pretty quickly. That's just how it goes for the people who take my courses, is they start to make their money really, really quickly. In my last course, I think after like the first day, someone had already like gotten 2 new clients within the second week. Someone had sold out their course. By the end of it, everyone who had taken the course and done the things was about 2 hours a week. They'd all made their money back, sometimes like 10 times their money back. It was really awesome to watch. So, this is the next layer of that process of learning how to effectively deliver your message in a way that will allow your audience to find you, and in a way that will allow you to make money so easily so that you know when you post exactly how much money you're going to make from that post. while leaving open the abundance for that number to go way up. Okay, let me look at the comments here. Amanda, it's so good to see your beautiful face. Amy, I read about this in the other group. I'm taking a new position that comes with a 15K pay cut. I love how you've gone from the passive, like I'm thinking about this, to I am doing this. So you're looking to make up that loss with the passive income stream, AA content program, any other ideas. So you do need a course. I'm going to go ahead and put the link in there. Um, in terms of creating passive income, it's not something you do in a week, right? Passive income is something that you build up over the series of months. Semi passive income, that's something that you can build up pretty quickly, where you automate most of it, but you still are putting some energy behind it. You can move your semi passive income streams like affiliate sales, like advertising income, like evergreen courses that aren't live. You can build those up over the course of 6 months to a year so that they're, bringing in significant amounts of money. But it is something that you have to put a little bit of effort into on a regular basis in order for it to work, right? It's not something where you can just be like, okay, today's the day that I'm magically going to start getting $1,000 a day for doing nothing. Hi, Janelle. Oh, you're in LA. I'm going to LA today. I'm heading down to Venice for a few hours. Hopefully, it's not too smoky down there. Um, so leave any questions you guys have in the comments. If you want to link to a social media post that either has made you money, I would love to see that as a case study. Or if you have a social media post on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or your blog post or anything that you were like, I was really hoping this would turn into some money for me. What happened? I will give you a critique. I'll critique it live with love because you're doing good work. Putting your message out there in the first place is such powerful energy. And okay, so here's like my baseline for knowing if something is successful. If it helps one person, whether or not it makes me any money, if it helps one person, then whatever I did was a success. Even if it was like a book that I spent 5 years working on and one person bought it and texted me and was like, hey, this was great, this helped me. It's like, oh, okay, good, it was worth it. Chances are it's going to help more than one person, right? But that's my baseline, is like anything I'm doing with my day, if it helps one other like living being on this earth, not just people, doggies too, then it was totally worth it. Amy, that is such a sweet comment. I forgot how much I love hearing you speak. That's a really sweet thing to say. Spike agrees. He's barking. He's really got a lot to say this morning, too. It's good to be live here. I'm going to be live every morning for the next week talking about how to monetize and automate your content creation. I'm going to be telling you guys about my first experience going viral when I ended up on a talk show because of an article that I wrote about how my mother called me fat my whole life. And I'm going to be sharing all these things I've learned in the past 15 years of being a freelance writer, a freelance copy editor, of writing on the internet and getting paid for it. So if you have any specific questions, if you have anything that I can specifically help you with, leave a comment here in the live or reach out to me directly. Or you can always schedule a 20-minute chat with me. I'm happy to jump on a call with any of you to go through how I can support exactly what you're trying to build so we can get your message to the people who really need to hear it. And more importantly, get them to commit to the accountability to make the changes that they want to make their world a better place. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Thank you for commenting. I put the link to the workshop that's happening next Saturday, the 29th. That's going to be in the comments. Give me your questions. Guide me here with how I can best support you. But remember, for anything that you're doing, if it's not starting from a place of joy, if it doesn't feel good to do it, don't do it. Don't do it. If you feel like, oh, but I have to, that's a tricky one. There is nothing you have to do in this world. Think of it like this: if you died tomorrow, would the things that you have to do, would they get done? Would someone else sneak in and do them? Or would they just float off into the ether as things that didn't actually have to get done? Ugh, that's an interesting one. It's a little bit macabre, but it's an interesting way to measure if what you're doing that isn't bringing you joy is something that you actually have to do. You guys have a great Friday. I'm going to go jump in the car and drive to LA to finish up my finals. I have to go perform a bunch of orthopedic tests. This is my life. I get to talk on the internet and I get to go touch people's bodies and make them feel better. All right, let me see if I can answer this question real quick. How do you come up with an idea for the semi-passive income courses, etc.? That is a fantastic question. It starts with market research. Reach out to your dream clients, the people who energetically you would love to spend time with, and ask them, hey, how can I help you? There's a whole series of questions we talked about in my last course, the Money Manifestation Academy. I'm going to be offering that again. I think that one's being offered in January. But if you'd like to buy the course when it's not live, I do offer it on special occasions for people who I think can hold themselves accountable to the work. Not everyone is capable of that, so I don't like to take people's money if I don't think they're actually going to do the work. Um, but you start by doing market research, by asking other people, hey, what do you need help with? And then you go from there. I hope that helps, Amy. I'll talk to you guys soon.